Hi, all. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Friday, April 6, 2018, and you're watching WGAN TV live at 5. Our topic today is a marketing plan for a vacation destination. So, if you live in a vacation destination or near a historic community or a very artsy gallery, restaurant kind of place, then this show might be for you. By the end of today's show, what I'd like to walk you through is how you could create an annual recurring revenue stream of $60,000 by the end of the first 12 months, and $120,000 by the end of the first 24 months. And in the course of doing that, make your competition totally irrelevant, and a lot of work up front, but maybe some coasting going on. If you at some point you're happy with the income that you're doing and you want to coast, then this may be that opportunity for you. But I think a lot of hard work up front. So for the purpose of taking you through this plan, I'm going to talk about Asheville, North Carolina. My wife and I have been there. It's a lovely place to visit. It is a vacation destination, a weekend destination. It's got the Biltmore Estates, and then in the downtown historic district, art district, tons of art galleries, tons of restaurants, tons of interesting shops. And so typically the first thing that you do when you enter this district is you're handed a map. Well, that's a little bit late in my opinion. I'd like for people to be able to plan ahead of time before they get to Asheville, North Carolina, to kind of get a sense of the restaurants, the lay of the land, which art galleries want to go visit, and also maybe make arrangements for bed and breakfast, see what other things to do, places to go in a vacation destination. And for you, that might be at the beach, it might be in the mountains. It just some destination that's even a historic district in a town. Even here in Atlanta, there's wonderful squares, Roswell Square, Alpharetta, have all just interesting local downtown. But again, for the purposes of community, because it's a little bit easier for me to visualize Asheville, North Carolina when I talk to you about this. So, okay, so how do you end up with a monthly recurring revenue that equals $60,000, $5,000 a month, and it totally makes the competition irrelevant? So what my vision for you, if you're in the vacation destination and you're a Matterport service provider, and hopefully you also do things like still photography, video, aerial, floor plans, etc., then I just have this vision of an electronic map. And what that map is, it may be easier to visualize as a service like 360 Tours, which takes an aerial 360 and lets you look down below at all the locations. And I'll post this video in the We Get Around Network Forum. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, WeGetAroundNetworkForum.com. And I'll post some examples below so that you can see what I'm describing. Actually, why don't I just give you maybe we'll go off and take a quick look. It's probably that important to just give you an example so you can visualize what I'm thinking about when I describe this. So I'm just calling up a web page, and I'm going to share my screen with you, and we'll go take a look at this. So this is an example of a vacation destination that's hosted on 360 Tours, THREESIXTY.tours. And what you can see here is there's a 3D tour There's a 3D tour. This is a play button indicating that there is a video, and this happens to be a 360 video. This is a video that's probably on YouTube. And as we move around, I don't see necessarily photos and other digital assets, but certainly anything that's a digital asset can be annotated on this aerial 360 looking down. And you can also put in links. There happens to be a link here to book now with this resort. Okay, so you kind of get the idea. In my mind, that's Asheville, North Carolina. That happens to be one photographer annotating one resort. And that's certainly a great business model, is just take on a resort and trick them out for 3D tours, photos, videos, aerial, floor plans, links to book the restaurant, etc. But now imagine doing that for an entire vacation destination that includes art galleries, restaurants, gift shops, bed and breakfast, VRBO, places to book, hotels, etc. And in my mind, there's three ways that you might approach a project like this. First, you might just simply say, okay, I'm going to go do 10 or 20 art galleries, and I'm not going to charge them. I just need content in order to be the yeast that begins the project. And there's going to be some art galleries that probably never in a million years would they have the money or the resources to actually, pay you. So you might simply say, I'm going to go do 10 or 20 art galleries at no charge, because that's content that I need for this vacation destination program. And second is to say, okay, I really need some restaurants for this. So whether you're doing the restaurants at no charge or you're doing the restaurants, some of the restaurants for trade, for gift certificates to eat at the restaurant, or third, that you're actually still, you've gotten to enough critical mass that you can explain to a client, I'm going to put you on Google Maps. I'm going to give you this 3D tour that's going to live on your website, and you'll be part of this bigger program where we are aggregating all the sites and attractions for Asheville, North Carolina on this map. So the client still gets the 3D tour, Matterport Spaces 3D tour for their website. They get it also published to Google Maps, and they end up on this this electronic map that has all the digital assets annotated on it. And so my feeling is, if you could do, let's call it 100 spaces, and you could charge $50 a month. That's 50 times, or call it $49 a month. I like things that end in 9. But for purposes of me doing the math in my head, $50. So 50 times 12 is $600. And if you had 100 paying clients, forgive me, I did the math a little bit wrong there. So 50 times 12 is 600. Excuse me, I got that right. Just got a lot of things going on. And if you were doing 100 tours for $600 annually, then that's $60,000. Excuse me. In your market, it might be $25 a month, or $24.99, or $24, $25, and it might be $30,000 annually. You'll have to figure out, what's the right price point in your market. But I'm going to use a round number and just say it's $50 a month. And so what's different here than going after residential real estate is instead of a residential real estate where it might live for a month or 3 or 6 months or a year, we're talking about businesses that are ongoing. And so once that restaurant is live, they're going to want their content live forever. The only reason it comes down is either they go out of business or the content needs to be refreshed. So This is particularly important when you're charging. You say, well, how much do I charge for Google Street View? And this is probably one of those zig when others zag examples, which I firmly believe in zig when others zag, or zig when others zig or zag. I guess that would be the expression. Is that if everyone is charging for Google Street View as a one-time fee, and let's say they were going to charge $1,000, or let's say in our example, they were going to charge $600, then you might charge $150 or $250 or $350, whatever, to do the shoot, but to charge monthly recurring revenue. So for you, monthly recurring revenue. So, that's where you get into, okay, for some small amount, I'm going to shoot. And then for a small amount on an ongoing basis for the rest of your life, we're going to charge you for hosting, maintenance, and support of the tour, both as the Matterport Spaces 3D tour on the client's website, on Google Street View, right? Because as a Matterport service provider, you are instantly now a Google Street View photographer and publish one or two tours, and you'll qualify for Google Street View trusted photographers because you only need 50 360 photospheres. Anyway, kind of digress for a moment. So the tour that you're creating is living in three places. Again, the Matterport Spaces 3D tour, fully tricked out and annotated, lives on the client's website like a restaurant. It also gets published by you to Google Maps, and you're going to help them immensely, because that's when people are planning, they're using, just like you, using Google for search, or show me restaurants in Asheville, show me art galleries in Asheville, show me hotels in Asheville, North Carolina. So that's the second thing, is to be able to publish to Google Maps. And this third thing, which I was showing you, that aerial view of a resort, that now becomes the piece that's differentiating you, meaning there may be other Matterport service providers and other Google Street View photographers in your market, but you can make them irrelevant by offering something that your competition is not offering. And that's this vacation destination digital planner with this aerial 360 that shows all the assets. And when you get to critical mass, that you have enough art galleries, enough restaurants, enough shops, enough hotel, now imagine being able to go back to the Chamber of Commerce or the Economic Development Council or the historic district and say, hey, I think we got something special here. This doesn't cost you anything because the merchants pay me, but it would be great if you promoted it, because people who are planning their vacation in Asheville, North Carolina, have a digital visual map of historic, charming Asheville, North Carolina, in this example. And so now you have the benefit of, whether it's the Chamber of Commerce, the Economic Development Council, the Department of Tourism, the local business association, and if you already have relationships with some of these organizations, you might even work it the other way around, is to say, hey, this is the grand vision of within 12 months of what we're going to accomplish. How about helping me get businesses to participate? It's not going to cost you, the Economic Development Council, the chamber, anything. I am making an ask that you ask your members, let me speak in front of your members and give them the vision of what we're accomplishing, because 1 + 1 + 1 doesn't equal 3, it equals 300, meaning all collectively working together raises all boats of all art galleries. It's just like when you say there's maybe you have food trucks in your community, and all the food trucks show up in the same place. And you might say, well, gee, isn't that like competition? If it was just one food truck, I'd just have one option and But what happens when all the food trucks in a community shows up? A ton of people show up because it's created critical mass for your choice, particularly if you're with friends and family who all have a different, taste buds of what they want. So it turns out that when you get that aggregation of food trucks, lots of people show up. You call it a festival. It's the food truck festival. And so in a similar way, if you get the majority of art galleries, if you get all the art galleries, if you get all the restaurants, if you get the gift shops, all of a sudden, all these individual pieces added together is greater than the individual sum. So I really do think that if you have 100 businesses on this aerial view map, then you're getting to the point where you have critical mass, where now groups like the Chamber of Commerce, the Historic Association, the Art Gallery Association, the Economic Development Council, the Department of Tourism, now have something for them to promote that's unique and special about the destination that is absolutely good for everyone. And you know what? The only way that you can get on this map is through you. It might be that there are other photographers, Matterport photographers or Google Street View, that have shot content, and you may have other businesses that already have existing digital assets. You know what? You can still charge them. You don't have to do a photo shoot. You don't have to create a 3D tour. You don't have to create the Google Street View. It would be nice that you got that order, because all of those different things can add up to your whatever it is that you're going to charge in terms of monthly recurring revenue for the hosting of all this content, hosting and management of content on an ongoing basis. But isn't that really interesting? Because you are now the gatekeeper. It's your digital asset, your visual storytelling of a destination. And so you're lucky enough to make the decision to say either, no, I need to shoot it, or that's great. Here's our fee if you just want to provide the digital assets to go on our map. And okay, so let's say we were charging $50 a month, and you shot everything, and now maybe you're charging $25 a month, and you'll put, whatever digital assets, photos, video, Matterport Spaces 3D tour, single property website that might be used for a bed and breakfast, links to book the restaurant now, book the open table, whatever it might be. So anyway, this is, it's probably not for everyone. This is not something that I've done, but I have talked to a number of Matterport service providers and vacation destinations, and I have found that this resonates with a lot of your peers that are in vacation destinations, because it means that they have something unique that other Matterport service providers won't have, and that they are essentially building a recurring revenue stream. If you think about it today, if you're out shooting and you get paid, it's kind of like you shoot, you kill, you eat. You shoot, you kill, you eat. You shoot, you kill, you eat. So you have to keep going out hunting, to be doing business, as opposed to finding business that can be recurring revenue for you, whether you're shooting or not. And so that's kind of like what I view this map as. The other thing is you could approach this project in a completely different way, is to say, okay, Dan, I get it in terms of the power of this map. From day one, I don't really see it as having value because I only got one art gallery on it. I only have 2 restaurants on it. So, but if you mentally think about, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I think there's something bigger here, that as long as I keep on track shooting digital assets that will eventually end up on a map like this, then that will help you focus in terms of the kind of content that you want to create. So that might say, okay, I do want to get all the restaurants, and I do want to get all the event spaces, and I do want to get art galleries, and I do want to get gift shops. And you might be doing those as just Matterport Spaces 3D tours. You might be doing it as Matterport and Google Street View. You might be doing the photos and videos and aerial, etc. But along the way, you're essentially creating all these digital assets. And then at some point, you might simply say, well, I need critical mass to kick off this project, so I'm not going to charge my existing clients, but I'm going to go put it all on this map. And now I have 100 different businesses on the map whose content I had already created for other reasons. And I'm going to get the next 100 clients paying me $50 a month in order to be on the map, or 150, 250, 350, 450, whatever is an upfront fee, and then a recurring monthly amount. And then when I get to 200, I still might go back to the first 100 I shot and say, oh, by the way, I comped you this past year, but I'm in order to go forward, I'll give you, a special rate, it's half off of what I'm presently charging new clients, and that you get to essentially resell back to your client another use case because you've created enough value in that map that they want to be on it, and you've perhaps comped them. You gave it to them free, for a year, while you were leveraging all those businesses being on the map in order to sell other clients. So I think there's lots of ways to make this play out. So if you have questions about this, please post to the forum, to the We Get Around Network forum. Again, if you're watching on the WGAN-TV YouTube channel, simply go to www.wegetaroundnetworkforum.com and look for this discussion on a marketing plan for vacation destination. I'll probably tag it with the word vacation and marketing. And then I did want to talk some about, 360 tours. And anyway, so what I want to talk about is if you're a We Get Around Network standard or premium member, there's lots of tools and resources that you get the free use of that fit great into this program. So the first is you get the free use of 360tours.com, and you actually get the top tier package, the free use of, which is the white label version. So there'll be no references to 360 tours in the URL. It'll be your URL, whatever you decide you want it to be, and there won't be any branding from 360 tours. The second is if you need aerials and you're not a drone photographer, then from satellitepanoramas.com, you can get satellite panoramas created for you for $49 each instead of $99 each. One caveat is they are made, you got to go look at Google Maps and just make sure that the aerial views from Google Satellite content is actually up to date. But assuming it is, then even without being an aerial photographer, you can start to order 360 panoramas created from satellite imagery. It's crazy cool. That's satellitepanoramas.com. And interesting thing about that is if you happen to be on a beach community and you have 10 miles of beach, and you may not be the right drone photographer, you may not know a drone photographer, but for $50 a pop, $49 each, you might order them half a mile apart or a mile apart and have something really crazy exciting in terms of a tour. So that's the second thing. The third is I could imagine including single property websites for bed and breakfasts, for vacation rentals, etc. As a standard member, you get the free use of WP 3D models, WordPress plugin, If you haven't seen an example, check out, we'll put them below in this discussion, the single property website examples that include the Matterport Spaces 3D tour, might include 360s, photos, videos, map, floor plans, contact info, lead generation form, etc. So free use of WP3D models, WordPress plugin. Then if you're creating some 360s, maybe you've bought an Insta360 One 360 camera or a Ricoh Theta S or a Ricoh Theta V or one of a number of other 360 cameras. Imagine that you're creating 360 photos and 360 video, great digital assets to include in this digital map. But in the what we call the nadir, below where the tripod is an opportunity to put a logo patch over the nadir where the tripod sits that has the company name, the business name, the company website, and the company logo. And as a WGAN standard member, you get a free logo patch that is created by one of our members, so that you can patch the video and the 360 photos. And oh, by the way, you can do that in Google Street View. Now, presently, if you're using Matterport to publish to Google Street View, you can't change the blurred out camera space. But two things. First, I think it's absolutely inevitable that Matterport will enable all of us to change swap out the logo patch, the nadir logo patch, which is presently just Matterport blurring it out. If not within Matterport, certainly within Google Street View, there'll just simply be too much pressure by other providers that offer a nadir logo patch solution. But the second thing is, until Matterport offers that, certainly a workaround is to use, why am I having a mental block here? I actually am. So this is horrible of me. So bear with me 1 second, and I just wanted to see what I was looking for. Just take me a second. It's 5:30 on a Friday. Cut me some slack. I was out at a comedy club late last night having some beer. So it was my mind is not what it used to be. But so what I wanted to talk about, I don't know why I had a mental block, but PanoSkin Pro. Forgive me, folks at PanoSkin Pro, but we've worked out an arrangement with PanoSkin Pro. So as a standard or premium member, you get the free use of PanoSkin Pro. PanoSkin Pro, in this little workaround I'm describing, is you take the Matterport Spaces 3D tour, you publish it to Google Street View, then you download from Google Street View using PanoSkin Pro. You just essentially suck the tour into PanoSkin Pro because it is your Google Street View account that you published to. And then you insert your logo patch into all your images, and you can do a global change. So you only have to say, okay, I want this logo patch to go into my 50 or 100 360s that you've just downloaded, and then just upload it back to Google Street View. And now you have something that when you're talking to a business is to say, and by the way, we include your company name, your logo, and your website address in every one of the 360s that shows up on Google Street View. And so it's another way for the business to kind of have branding and something special for you to offer. So those are some of the things that, as a standard member, you get the free use of WP3D models, 360 tours, PanoSkin Pro. You get all of those, the free use of as a standard member. And then I mentioned also that you get a free nadir logo patch. You get satellite media panoramas for $49 each. If you're, and I also could imagine that you say, oh my God, Dan, you just explained, how to go from Matterport to Google Street View to PanoSkin Pro back up to Google Street View, but I lost you at the very beginning because this may be somewhat new to you and you're just a little bit on overload. You could work with a third-party service provider, MP2SV, multi-pano to Google Street View, MP2SV. That service is provided by Metroplex 360 by Chris Hickman, and it's a boutique service. So if you just say, Chris, would you please take my Matterport space? I've published it to Google Street View, but could you please download it, change the logo patch, color correct, remove some of this scan so that the flow is better. I have a couple of shots that have the camera in the mirror. They're pretty upscale businesses. They're not really happy about that. Could you take the camera out, clean it up, and then publish it back to Google Street View? There is a member in the community that offers this boutique hand-holding solution for publishing, unpublishing to Google Street View and enhancing your tour. So I mean, just give you an example, and I imagine this is something that Matterport will fix. But right now, let's say you shoot a model that has 100 scans in a Matterport Spaces 3D tour, and let's say you deactivate 20 of the scans, you hide them in Workshop, and that's fine when it's published as a Matterport Spaces 3D tour. Someone only has access to actually walk 80 of the scans. But as I understand it, if you publish those 100 scans, even though 20 are hidden to Google Street View, all 100 are going to show up. So again, if I have that correct, I would say that Matterport is going to fix that. It's too glaring a thing that just needs to be addressed. But if not, again, the way that either the self-service way that you could do this is to download all your Matterport spaces to Panoskin Pro, and then the scans that you were hiding is simply delete them and then upload your tour. Or if that makes your mind burst, your brain burst, then mp2sv.com. There actually is a special link for a standard premium, basic standard and premium members where you can save 40% on MP2SV services. So if you're a basic standard or premium member, make sure to check out your welcome on board letter to find that special link so that you can take advantage of getting a promo code that'll save you 40% on the boutique services of MP2SV. So anyway, we've covered a lot today in terms of a marketing plan for vacation destination. Again, this is not something that I've done. It's just something I've been thinking a lot about. I have been talking to a number of members that are in vacation destinations about this, and it's been something that has resonated, I think, with every one of them. Whether or not they went off to do it or not do it, I don't know. But I do believe that in a ever-growing, crowded marketplace where you're only going to have more and more and more and more competitors, how do you make it so that you're not trying to, and if you're trying to differentiate your business, price, quality, and service don't count. I won't go into details, but it simply doesn't count. So you got to look for other ways to make your competition irrelevant. And so what I'm trying to do is give you this digital map that's either your vision for beginning your project or as you're shooting, that all the digital assets that you're shooting would logically make sense to go onto this digital map, that you're being strategic about the clients that you're pursuing, knowing there's a greater, bigger opportunity for you and your clients on this digital map. So great that you're creating Matterport Spaces 3D tours. Great that you're now publishing to Google Street View. But this additional layer is really the secret sauce, the magic to making your competition irrelevant, because at the end of the day, when you have 100 or 200, whatever it is, businesses on this digital map, you're going to have other businesses that are going to want to be on the map, because that's how people are discovering Asheville, North Carolina, or your vacation destination, or your historic district, because you have something special. And when you get to that critical mass, you'll know it, because three magical things actually will happen. The first is organizations like the Chamber of Commerce, the Economic Development Council, the Tourism Bureau, the Historic District Association will want to promote it because it raises all the boats of all members. And then second, you'll start to have businesses call you to say, hey, you got my friend's business and restaurants on. How do I get on this thing that everybody's now using? So inbound business. And then the third thing, which I just think is magical, is monthly recurring revenue. And you might bill it as annual, but I just have like monthly recurring revenue. And whether you and if you're on vacation, you still have monthly recurring revenue come in. You've decided not to shoot for a month, you still have monthly recurring revenue come in. That's really important in terms of trying to find your sweet spot for your business. And if you're just charging to shoot, then again, you're constantly in this, I got to find the next client and shoot. I got to find the next client and shoot, as opposed to you have monthly recurring revenue coming in. And if you check out the We Get Around Network Forum, we've had lots of discussions about how to automate the process of billing and collecting monthly recurring revenue, even for small amounts. So if you're thinking, oh gosh, collecting from 200 businesses, $25 every month, that sounds like a whole lot of paperwork. No, it's not. We do that today with hundreds of monthly recurring revenue subscriptions from members of the We Get Around network that are basic, standard, and premium members. And it's super easy. It just automatically happens. It's charged to a credit card. The money is automatically deposited in the We Get Around network checking account. So there are tools to use to automate the process. And so at the end of the day, what I hope that your takeaway is, sounds like a lot of work up front. Yes, I would say it probably is. On the other hand, your hard work if you can make your hard work turn into monthly recurring revenue, then you really have a magical business. My goal for you is to have, after the first 12 months of doing this project, a business that's generating 60,000 in annual recurring revenue, and within another year generating $120,000 in annual recurring revenue. And now you can have some vision to say, gee, now I can, in terms of the businesses that I shoot and I get paid, and I shoot and I get paid, you can be a little bit more selective to say, I don't have to take every job that comes in that doesn't pay at the rate that you feel is sufficient to justify your time, because you're going to make a choice with your time to say, I'd rather go develop another monthly recurring revenue client to add to our map than to go shoot a residential real estate property and be ever squeezed by the real estate agent. And even after I deliver the project, that they're so price sensitive that the next Matterport service provider that gets a camera who says, I'll do it for free because I'm looking for practice for scanning. I want to collect a logo that I can put on my website, and I need a testimonial. You really do have that kind of competition. And so again, this is a way to build a monthly recurring revenue business in a vacation destination, in a historic district, in an art district in your community. So anyway, let me know what you think. Post to the We Get Around Network forum, or if you rather, send me a private message within the forum. Again, if you're watching this, if you're watching WGAN-TV live at 5 on our YouTube channel, join us in www.wegetaroundnetworkforum.com. And just post to the discussion or private message me. So anyway, that's our topic for today. Thanks for tuning in to WGAN-TV Live at 5. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks again. Bye-bye. So if you're watching this on the We Get Around Network Forum, and you want to automatically get notified whenever we go live, then join the WGAN TV YouTube channel. And to find it, simply go to Dan Smigrod, search YouTube for Dan Smigrod. It's actually under my name. DAN space SMIGROD as in David, Dan Smigrod, and subscribe to the WGAN TV YouTube channel and set the little bell on notification. And then every time we go live, you'll automatically get a notification that we're live streaming program. Whether you watch or not, at least you won't miss out. And we will take today's show and we'll make it part of the We Get Around Network Training Academy. I would imagine that we'll keep this show free for at least the rest of the month of April. But after that, we're going to put the show behind that only Basic Standard and Premium members would actually have access to the show that you just watched. So if you've missed any portion of today's show, I encourage you to watch it during the month of April 2018. And if you're a Basic Standard and Premium member and you want to be able to look at it after April, just simply join you'll be able to see today's program. Again, I'm a little bit slap happy from being out late last night. So I think I'll call it a day. I thank you for tuning in. Dan Smigrod, WGAN TV Live at 5 from Atlanta.